Hi, everybody. Welcome to our meeting on the service and market opportunities for producers. We actually tried to record this live when we did it the first time around, but had a bit of a glitch. So we're re-recording it so that folks who missed the presentation can still have access to it. I think, you know, we don't need to go through the intro steps since this is a re-recording. So I'll go ahead and introduce the webinar. So first, I want to give a few key details about the project in case you haven't been following along. We are building a brand new slaughter facility in Rand, West Virginia, just outside of Charleston. The facility is going to be equipped with humane livestock handling facilities. We're very excited about that and got blessing from Temple Grandin on our design for that, which was very exciting for us. We're going to have a state-of-the-art kill floor and process areas, ready-to-eat processing, and an on-site smokehouse. So we will be able to do USDA-inspected bacons and hams and products like that. The facility is currently under construction. There's a semi-recent photo there in the bottom of your screen. We've got walls, which is an exciting step. But for now, our estimated completion date, we're looking at September 2021. We'll likely have probably between 8 to 12 new jobs at the facility in 2021. When the facility is fully up and running, we'll be looking more at 25 to 30 positions. The building's about 10,000 square feet and is built to handle a capacity of around 100 head of beef or beef equivalent per day. So that's a little bit about the project. If you're familiar with Buzz Food Service and have been by our office currently, there's a little map up here in the top left corner shows where Buzz is, and then Appalachian Abattoir is co-located, not directly next door, but just about on the same stretch of road. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Dickinson Gould, who's going to talk through some key definitions and then talk about what services and market opportunities we're going to have for producers. So take it away, Dickinson, and let me mute myself.
Thanks, Annie, and hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We hope this webinar can give producers a sense of what we're going to have to offer and how we might be different from the existing local processing infrastructure here in Southern West Virginia. A couple of key definitions that we thought were worth walking through and might help you understand the business model a little bit better. First of all, it's been a core project goal of ours to involve USDA federal grading services. So a unique addition to the local marketplace is that we're going to have federal resources in the plant to objectively grade beef, pork, and lamb for its quality, which I think is going to be an interesting selling characteristic for everyone that we serve. But before we get to the grading activities, I'm sorry to jump ahead. We should talk first about just the inspection services. As most of you understand, federal inspection is necessary to sell beef, pork, lamb, and other processed meats across state lines. We have been virtually without federal inspection in Southern West Virginia, at least in live animal slaughter facilities. Recently, we've had only the benefit of state inspection, which has many benefits, but in our business at Buzz, we're currently delivering product in 6 states. It's critically important for us to have federal inspection, and everyone who uses our facility for service work or as part of our wholesale supply chain will have the benefit of federal inspection, whether it's necessary for your private selling or not. As you know, the state Department of Agriculture does offer inspection. Federal inspection will provide the same degree of proof of the product's wholesomeness and that it was processed in a safe HACCP environment, which we have maintained here at Buzz for a long time, and will also extend to the live animal slaughter and value-added processing that we're going to be engaged in. It's worth noting, that this that this is different from what many local producers know as custom or custom exempt processing. That is a designation used when product is going to be maintained, ownership is going to be maintained by the producer, him or herself, or it's going to be sold in a private sale in full, not by the individual cut, where labeling doesn't have to show the mark of inspection. We will not be offering any custom exempt work in this facility. Everything will be federally inspected and have the benefit and the marks of federal inspection. And there's no downside to doing that way. If we have the resource here, we can and will extend that to all of our customers. Um, it's worth touching on that because I think many producers or customers in this space are used to referring to custom exempt as a synonym for what we're calling service work, right? So the part of our business model that is known in other areas as custom work, we will refer to as service work. Is the same principle. Producer schedules a processing appointment at Appalachian Abattoir, brings live animals. We perform the slaughter, the boning, the breaking. We follow your custom cut sheet that you've put together, and we package and label the product to your benefit. You come and pick the product up and essentially pay a service fee or a toll fee for the work that we've done. But that's where you, as the producer, are maintaining ownership of the product. We will not be referring to that as custom work. We will be referring to that as service work, in part to avoid confusion around the federal inspection that will always be included in our work. I hope that brief overview helps make sense. But another exciting aspect of what we're doing, and really part of our core intention, is to create for local producers a new selling opportunity. And that's where our wholesale market opportunity comes into play. So Buzz, as a well-established wholesale distributor of beef, pork, and lamb, we have a significant supply chain, most of which is currently Midwestern boxed beef, pork, lamb, and other proteins sourced from the big five packers. It comes to our facility. We sell it boxed in and box out, and or we further process that, the finished fabrication work that we're known for, cutting individual steaks, chops, making fresh grinds for food service use. That's really the history of our business. And a big part of this project is to give our customers, the chefs, the restaurants, and the business owners that we work with, access to locally raised protein. This is part of building a local meat industry that doesn't really exist today. And so in this new wholesale market, when we have had a chance to identify local producers that are consistently achieving highest quality product and quality grades, we will be in a position to buy locally raised livestock from the producer. So in which case, we will pay for that product on the hanging weight, and we intend to offer what we call a modified pricing grid so that producers are paid appropriately for any quality premiums that they achieve. If you produce a product that grades as prime, that should pay you as the producer more than raising something that's choice, and choice should pay you a premium over what a select grade product would pay. And so that'll be the model in our place. The same goes for the yield grade of the animal. Yield grade 1 is better than yield grade 2, better than yield grade 3, so on and so forth. So there will be grid pricing that will rewards the producer on the quality of the product that they bring to us. I think, being paid on live weight or hot carcass weight is probably a familiar model to many of you. It will trace back to likely the live cattle market. We don't have a definition to offer you today on what pricing will be tied to, but it'll be some sort of readily available national price, like the 6-state live steer market, live fed steer market is a common metric that we might tie ourselves to. And when we think all is said and done, we're creating a new market for locally raised livestock that can likely offer a premium over what producers are getting in local stockyards and or contract sales to big five packers like JBS or IBP, National Beef, and on and on. So there's many more details to come on that front, but for partners in the marketplace that are producing a consistently high quality product, we are anxious to build relationships that include, building a calendar throughout the course of the year, scheduling production, and making commitments to one another that can offer you as the producer the confidence and the security to, in some cases, maybe scale up production. In other cases, hold animals back from other markets that you've used up to now. There's a lot of details and a lot of conversations that we look forward to having with each of you over the coming months, but that's intended to be a quick preview of the fact that this new facility at Appalachian Abattoir will be engaged in both sides of that business model. We will be doing service work for producers who already have a market for their finished meat products, but we will also be sourcing local livestock from producers like yourselves. And let's keep going to the next slide. So, we've talked about some of these, but I do want to reinforce that while our service model will be similar to other local processors in, charging on hot carcass weight and working with producers to make selections on a cut sheet in advance of production, the scheduling and the pricing might have a lot of similarities. Areas where we think we will set ourselves apart appear on this page. First of all, USDA inspection means the product could be sold as individual cuts across state lines. If you've been in the habit of selling freezer beef in quarters, halves, and wholes up to now, but you've been tempted to maybe try your hand at the local farmers market or even selling directly to a restaurant, your product sourced or processed at Appalachian Abattoir will offer you the opportunity to do so. We will have a full-time customer service staff. So these are folks that can work with you as you make decisions on your cut sheet, make decisions around custom packaging and labeling, work to schedule processing appointments in a convenient manner, and overall just make sure that the process happens seamlessly. There's a common refrain that we hear, too often. The person at these plants that are scheduling livestock deliveries is the same person who's working on or managing the kill floor, and that creates all sorts of communication challenges. So having some full-time staff devoted to your needs and the challenges of scheduling is a big priority for us. Furthermore, quality craftsmanship is a big part of what we bring to the table. So we've been in the portion control meat cutting business for 75 years. We have a very talented and experienced staff of professional meat cutters here at Buzz. And on a daily basis, we're creating fabricated product for the most demanding and successful chefs and restaurant owners in our service area. So we think that the way that we can cut and present and fabricate your product for your end users will be very much to your satisfaction and potentially an upgrade of what you're used to. As far as packaging goes, we already employ many of the state-of-the-art packaging tools that are available in our industry already, and we intend to invest in more. Of the photos on this page, you can see in that upper left-hand corner, that's a center cut filet mignon that's been run through a continuous feed roll stock packaging machine. And what that does is that it creates a product that, secures the safety of the product, but also displays the presentation in, we think, a really high quality fashion. It gives you a flat, hard side of plastic on which to apply a sticker. And frankly, this can and should extend the life and the appearance of the product. And that's just one example of the many tools at our disposal. Quality labeling, I'll call your attention to this mock-up of a label on the right side of your screen. This, we would say, might be a generic label where the primary branding is around the processing facility itself, Appalachian Abattoir. The secondary label is the producer, in this case, a made-up company called Canal Land and Cattle. Then we identify the cut of beef, and at the bottom, we're able to identify the grade of beef. Now, there would likely be our mark of inspection, our bug would appear on this. There's potential to also introduce secondary logos for producers that use us to a greater degree, have a minimum amount of volume coming through our plant in any given year. There will exist the opportunity to make the primary full color logo on a label like this your own farm or business logo, if that's something that you have and you think you want that to translate through to your end user, either through private freezer beef sales, beef, pork, and lamb, or maybe you think that the product might present better at a farmer's market. We'll be in a position to highly customize labeling for your use, and we know that's a new and unique addition to services offered in the current marketplace locally. Of course, USDA grading services is maybe the biggest leap forward that this plant provides the local livestock community. Any product that you bring to us, you will receive detailed grading and quality reports back. And we see this as the best chance that the local marketplace has had up to now to really learn about the quality of product that we're producing, and to reinforce some of the smart decisions that operators like yourself are making around genetics and feed and overall herd management. Our intention is, as we identify people that are producing quality beef, pork, and lamb at the highest levels, that we want to capture what they're doing differently from others, what they've learned and what's working well, to allow other producers to repeat that success. So look for many producer profiles to come over the coming months and years that'll help you and all local livestock producers to improve the quality of their product if that's their goal. We've already talked a little bit about tiered pricing and the specific cut sheets. We think we'll be in a position to make the product and package it exactly the way that you want to see it, or exactly the way that your customers expect to see it. And it's a big part of the project that we look forward to working with you on. So common questions are when, what, and how. We would love to start booking service appointments today. Our hesitation is evidenced by the early construction photo that Annie already showed you. Until we make it a little bit further into the construction project, we're just hesitant to open the books. We are very hopeful that we will have a finished facility by September of 2021. And we think that in another 2 or 3 months, we will have the confidence to start booking service appointments for October of 2021, at which time we're well in advance of which we will communicate through our newsletters and our various social media sites that the books will be opening, so everyone has a fair chance to schedule some work for themselves. Of course, what are we processing? We are limiting species to beef, pork, lamb, and goat. We have established a policy. We will not be well equipped or prepared to accept bison, no poultry in the facility. We're not a seafood processor, and we want to limit cattle with horns over 24 inches just for the safety of our staff, and the well-being of the facility and equipment that we've invested in. The best way to stay informed is through following our newsletter, if you haven't already signed up, and following our now established Facebook page, tuning into informational webinars like this, of which there are more to come, and sending us questions as you have them. We'll be happy to respond in real time, and again, look forward to many personal conversations over the months to come. So that's the service model. Let's take a look in a little bit further depth to the wholesale market that we're creating with this new plant. Of course, as we've established, Buzz currently buys more than 1 million pounds a year of Midwestern boxed beef, pork, and lamb. Our intention all along behind these efforts has been to give ourselves and our customers access to highest quality, locally raised product. The key phrase there is highest quality, right? So I do want to forewarn local producers that just because you have some beef, pork, or lamb in your operation, and just because you're interested in the selling opportunity, that doesn't mean that the quality of the product is something that our customers currently have demand for. We really are interested in using our service model as a way to get to know producers, understand their operations, their schedule, the size of what they're doing, and most importantly, the quality of their finished results. And so we look forward to those conversations and to learning together and making future plans. As you can see here, of course, we will be purchasing whole graded carcasses from producers, and producers will be paid by the hot carcass weight, with grid pricing tied to public markets, with premiums for prime choice and better yield grade product. Our intention is to offer our wholesale customers source verified and traceable product. So, the idea of the so-called chalkboard restaurants, where they can say to their customers, today's ribeye steak came from XYZ farm in such and such county, West Virginia. It's just an element of a healthy and mature local meat industry that we just have not been able to take great enough advantage of here locally, and something that can and will and should change as part of this project. Of course, as we've touched on already, we'll be providing grade and yield reports to any producer, and helping you to compare those to in aggregate to other producers and statewide or region-wide results. So, we're excited to give our customers access to locally raised livestock, and we think that our reputation in business and the quality of product that customers are used to buying from Buzz is something that sets a very high expectation, but a bar that we can meet together. You can see an example of what packaging might look like in that upper left corner. A full color labeled beef box is something that can and should help brand this as a premium product and a premium program, the kind of things that restaurants, hotels, country clubs, and other hospitality venues are proud to claim that they're a part of and that they're working in support of. And that should be to the benefit of everyone involved, including the producers. So very excited to create a new and different selling opportunity for local producers, beyond just the local stockyard or maybe some direct sales and freezer beef, pork and lamb selling opportunities that might be limited by your personal network. We think there might be a model in which we help producers do more of that whole or half or quarter carcass selling without having to invest a lot of time, energy, or resources in increasing your marketing efforts. So more on that to come as well. And hopefully this is good, useful information around what a wholesale selling opportunity might look like for producers at Appalachian Abattoir. Here's a few notes on what we might be looking for specific to beef. Of course, our business has always been built on selling the highest quality grade of beef. We sell a lot of prime, a lot of certified Angus beef and choice product. In this new facility, we have often gotten the question if we will be limiting our purchases to Angus beef only, and that will not be the case. Black hide is not required. I mean, we have a lot of faith in the Angus breed, but we know great quality beef comes from Hereford and other breeds as well. And we look forward to working with producers that have made those choices long ago. We would say that, for a graded product, it is our intention to see livestock that have been finished to some degree and had a final 75 or 100 days on a grain rich diet that allows them to collect fat and marble intramuscular marbling. And so that means target live animal weights of steers between 1,100 and 1,300 pounds, heifers between 1,000 and 1,200 pounds. And what we want to see ultimately, and the premiums that all parties can enjoy, are carcasses that grade to choice and prime. That's really what our goal is. We have often gotten the question if we will do any purchasing of grass finished livestock, and there certainly can be a market for that locally. It could be a brand extension of what we do. For instance, it is not the primary focus of our start in this effort. And so, stay tuned and make us aware of what you're doing. And we see that developing over time, but that's not the strongest demand that we're seeing from our customers currently. What they want is a grain finished, marble rich product. We'll also be requiring beef quality assurance from anyone that we partner with. Hopefully you're familiar with the program, relatively easy to achieve. If you haven't achieved this or had this in place in your operation up to now, we would encourage you to reach out to your local extension agent who can help get you the resources. And this is something that proves a commitment to responsible herd management and humane handling. And it's also something that many of our end users, particularly supermarket chains, would expect and hope to see from us. So that's something that trickles all the way down to begins with the producer. So more information on that to come. Feel free to reach out if you have questions. And then, of course, along those same lines, a big cornerstone of what we're doing is focused on animal welfare and incorporating everything that the industry has learned about the psychology of the animal and its impact on meat quality. And so as much as local producers can demonstrate their own commitment to animal welfare through various certification or record keeping and investments in the property, investments in their own education, that's something we want to hear about and support and encourage for sure. So the when, what, and how, we are, of course, hopeful that we can start to engage this wholesale market opportunity soon after we open, but certainly no later than early 2022. And of course, we're likely starting with grain finished beef in that fat cattle target weight. But over time, of course, we are looking to source pork and lamb for our wholesale customers as well. I guess we're prioritizing this opportunity by where we see and hear the greatest interest and demand. And that's what we've seen and heard up to now. The best way to stay informed is to get on our newsletter and stay in touch. You can request helpful copies of supporting documentation like our our target specs and other standards of feed grading and even being paid on hot carcass weight and a modified grid. If you're doing this for the first time, then we can help you get more familiar with the concept through private conversation. So feel free to reach out, send us an email, tell us about your own operation, and we're hopeful that we can work with many of you, even the smallest scale producers, over the coming months, years, and decades, frankly. And with that said, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dan Schumacher, to tell you a little bit about some of the product opportunities and elements of our value-added processing intentions. Take it away, Dan.
Thanks, Dickinson. Hello, everybody. I wanted to first start today talking a little bit about farm to table and local foods. Over the last decade or so, there's certainly been a groundswell of this whole farm to table, knowing where your food comes from, and shortening the distance from the farm to the table, so to speak. And I think that the last year, everything with COVID-19 is amped that up even more. People are just generally more concerned about where their food is coming from, the distance that it has to travel, the amount of hands, so to speak, that it has to move through, and even a carbon footprint of mileage that it has to travel. So when people talk about local, I've always felt that it was a very arbitrary number. It was almost a number that was put out to fit the focus of that given subject. A lot of mileage was thrown around 400 miles. If it was raised within 400 miles, it could be considered local. And I just think that that's arbitrary. I mean, the Chesapeake Bay is within 400 miles of Charleston. Would a wild-caught striped sea bass or a black sea bass coming out of that bay, would we consider that local food here in Charleston, West Virginia? I don't. My definition is something that, you could put the kids in the car and go drive and see where the food came from. Maybe 150, 200 miles max, but certainly not something you would need an airplane to get to. So to me, local, and as we talk about these local products, locally produced products, I think we're talking about West Virginia. We're talking about Eastern Kentucky, Southeast Ohio. Those places where you can get into the car with the family and take a drive to such and such farm in Wirt County or Athens County or something like that in Ohio, something that's really local. So let's tighten that definition up and really truly focus on what is local. Let's stop sending our feeder cattle at 600 and 700 pounds out of the state to finish off in the Midwest somewhere, to come back maybe in a box, like we're buying from the Midwest beef companies, the big 5-packer, so to speak. Maybe there's a little percentage of it that comes back from West Virginia, but we don't know. There's no way to track it. What we're going to be able to do is, beyond the service model that Dickinson's been talking about so much today, is the wholesale and even further into the retail outlets, to be able to tell people where the product is coming from. That's huge. And to keep the money, to keep that you guys can spend to raise these animals, let's keep the revenue and the profits here in West Virginia, and let's not send it to Des Moines, Iowa, to those big packing houses. So let's keep local meats going into local diners. Let's keep the local money here. Let's reduce the carbon footprint. It's the right thing to do. And I think in the end, that's what all of you producers want, is to keep your products here, feeding local folks. Now, moving away from that a little bit and talking about some of the products that we're going to be carrying, that's to me the most exciting part, at least what I'm going to be doing as far as business development. But Dickinson talked mostly about the service, so I really don't want to go too much into that, outside to say that some of the more further processed items that might not necessarily be part of the service model for other slaughterhouses would be specialty sausages and things like that. We're going to have the equipment to do, as Annie mentioned earlier, we're going to have a smokehouse, so we're going to be able to do local bacon, local smoked sausages, hams, and things like that. So I think that you'll see that our cut sheets are a little bit more detailed and give you more options for your customers on some of the things that we're going to offer beyond just cutting things into steaks and offering grinds. As far as the wholesale model is concerned, wow, Dickinson, you alluded to just a few minutes ago about a restaurant being able to put this week's burger came from such and such farm, or the bacon on your breakfast came from such and such farm. Just really exciting opportunities, not only for you producers, but for the restaurateurs in the area to just give that extra niche to those diners. But some of the other items we're going to be carrying for wholesale, beyond the regular cuts, the steak cuts, the end meats, the grinds, specialty grinds. We're certainly going to be getting into, whether it's a brisket grind or a sirloin grind, just different kind of blends we're going to be able to offer the chefs out there. Certainly charcuterie is hot right now, so we're going to be able to get into local dried sausages and dried meats and cured meats and things like that. So really exciting for the diners. Deli meats. So we could be looking at roast beef, corned beef, pastrami, tavern hams, and things like that. Local jerky or beef sticks. So you go in even to your local Go Mart or food fair or something and be able to buy West Virginia produced, even possibly from a given farm, to be able to buy those products at the retail level. Ready to eat products. So there's a lot of those out there. You see all those Bob Evans and what's the whiskey company? I can't think of it right now. They sell that pulled pork and barbecue sauce, things like that. The ready to eat products. We're going to have the facilities and the capabilities of doing that. Cooked meatballs and meatloaf, chili for hot dogs. We know how big chili dogs are here in West Virginia. So the options are endless. We've got some ideas. We're really going to be relying on our chefs and our customers to come back and say, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? And we see no reason why we would limit it by anybody's ideas. So, we're really, really excited about the opportunity to take these local animals and put additional value and opportunity for the diners in West Virginia to take advantage of it. And lastly, and Dickinson, you'd made mention of this, the expansion of quarters, halves, and wholes, that whole program. It's kind of limited now, but we'd like to take that and expand it to offer it to a greater width of folks out there. Now, I'm sure you all have your customers and your family members, and the guy you're using some of his pasture land for your animals, so you give him a half a side of beef or whatever. We're going to be able to take this opportunity, not competing with you, of course, and offer this freezer beef, so to speak, to many more people in the area. So we're pretty excited about some of the opportunities there in which to keep more of this local product in West Virginia and the surrounding communities. And that's all I've got.
All right, great. So we had some questions last time that we'll just go through again, so we make sure that we have the answers for these, and some of them we kind of hit on already. So one is, what kind of smoked products can we produce? And specifically, I think we'll have a full smokehouse, so we can do, again, bacons, hams, potentially jerkies, other cooked products, and things like that. Another question, will you be buying from big cattle producers only, or will you be able to work with smaller producers? Do you want to talk about that, Dickinson?
Yeah, we absolutely intend to work with small producers. That's not our intention around how we select partners to buy livestock from. Our point of greatest interest is consistent quality. The grading services that'll occur in the plant each week will help us identify who is doing this to the highest degree. And frankly, what I'm most excited about is we're going to be in a position to help producers understand their herd, understand the results better than ever. And if their motivation is to sell into our wholesale supply chain, and if that requires improving results, then let's get better together. So no small scale producer should be discouraged by that. The first step in the process is better understanding what you're producing now, and look forward to working with as many small scale producers as we possibly can.
Great. So another question about the BQA requirements, just where can we learn more about this? I think Dickinson already mentioned, a good place to start is with your extension agent. If you aren't already familiar with the BQA, program. It's beef quality assurance, and basically it's like a minimum standard for primarily what we're most concerned about, especially is vaccination records and withdrawal periods around the food safety of those products. But it has a direct impact on the quality of those animals coming in. And again, it's a 1 or 2 day course typically with a short test. And again, your extension agent in your county or anyone at WVU Extension should be able to point you in the right direction if you aren't already familiar with that program. Question about if we have a feeding protocol in mind. You want to talk about that, or do you want me to?
I'll start and then you can improve on my answer. We are hesitant to insert ourselves in your existing feeding protocols. There's a lot of ways to make cattle fat. Corn is one of many. There's all sorts of grain-rich silage and local forage that might be involved in a diet, and we don't know what the best answer is. That's where we're relying on producers to be smarter than we are. But we'll both learn something from the finished results, and I think maybe the biggest element of this is that some producers may say, hey, I don't have the capability to finish animals in my operation, and I don't have experience using a feedlot, or I'm not aware of any facilities like that are near me. My response to that would be there is likely some infrastructure that you're just not aware of. And we have also gotten the indication from the marketplace that there's a lot of people that are in a position to finish livestock and they want to do more of it. So one element of this project may be connecting producers that are used to selling feeder calves on that outbound truck to nowhere, but are now interested in potentially holding back some of those animals, keeping them here, and share our interest in finishing them to their ultimate best result. If we can connect you with other people in the marketplace that are able, willing to play a role in that process, then I think we're both doing the local feed industry a big favor. What those resources might look like are to be determined, but like we said, we think there's more infrastructure than people realize, whether it's an old dairy barn that could be converted to a feeding and finishing operation, or something something similar to that on a small scale. It's a leap forward for beef production in West Virginia, and it's something that we want to encourage and be part of if we can. Tell me what you'd add to that, Annie.
Great job. I think you covered it. I guess maybe the one thing I would say is I think that there are some educational partners in the state that are interested, if you are interested in the research side of anything, in maybe doing some more targeted experiments or working with producers to figure out what kind of feeding regimens work best for us here in the state. I don't have any specifics on that, but we have gotten some interest from folks who may be looking at that in the future. Another question that I think we touched on, but worth bringing up again, is will we be buying in other animals other than beef?
Yeah, absolutely. Beef, pork, and lamb, as the market demands and as we can successfully market the product. I think we often talk about beef first and use it almost as like a proxy for the size and purpose of this facility, but maybe that's just for ease and familiarity of our own. We absolutely hope to work with a lot of pork and lamb producers and find the best possible homes for locally raised pork and lamb. We at Buzz, everyone involved in this product shares the belief that there are big opportunities for pork and lamb in the local marketplace. It's our duty to connect buyers and sellers and encourage more support of a local pork and lamb product. And maybe the first step is having easier access to it, which this project should most certainly create. please add anything you like to that, Annie.
Yeah, no, I think that also, I think you covered it. So we did get a question. Shelly's obviously not here on the re-recording from Shelly, who's the market manager at the Wild Ramp, and she was talking about how they have a lot of customers who come into the Wild Ramp looking for certified organic product, and so she was asking if we're interested in producing a certified organic product here at Buzz. And I think there's kind of two components to that. One is the market for that, and then two, I can talk about the certification process a little bit if you want to start, Dickinson.
Yeah, I would agree with Shelley that there is definitely an interest in and a market for organically, naturally raised local livestock. It's an important, I don't even want to say niche, it's just an important element, an area of interest from the consumers who want to buy something that's local. So we want to help producers tell that story as much as we can. I'm not sure that an all natural offering is the first component for us to lead with in food service sales, but as far as the custom packaging and labeling that we'll be able to offer in our service model, we really, I think we can help producers creatively amp up the story that they're telling and the story that their customers want to understand better. But maybe the most important part of the discussion is that those organic feeding and handling practices start at the farm level. And Annie knows more about the certification that requires than probably anyone in Southern West Virginia. So I'll let her expand on that.
Yeah, so as far as this also holds true for any of the animal welfare certifications that folks might currently have or be interested in getting for their farms. But the role of the processing plant in those certification programs is to verify that step and carry on the certification. So as a farmer, you work with their certification agency, whether that's USDA organic or animal welfare approved or whatever program you're working with, to have, whatever required paperwork and inspections and fees associated with that certification on your farm that start there. And then the role of the processing facility, and it varies slightly by program, is then we would get paperwork from you and check in with the agency to make sure everything's fine. That allows us to then put your certification label, again, certified organic would fit in that animal welfare certifications on that final label. So the role of the processing facility is kind of a verification for something like certified organic, where the product is processed. It would have to be prior to, I believe, any conventional product to avoid any contamination or anything like that. And obviously our records are going to be very good with our USDA inspection to begin with, but there's a couple of requirements the facility needs to follow, a couple of requirements about, I think some of the cleaning supplies that can be used and stuff like that. But, if you are certified organic and are interested in carrying that through, let us know. But again, as far as developing a market for a certified organic product, until there is, a large enough pool of producers who can say that they're certified, that's probably not something that we're going to be marketing to our wholesale customers, because again, there is demand for it, but to offer a consistent wholesale product, you have to have a large enough group of product essentially coming in to justify that kind of separate marketing campaign for wholesale size. But again, for any service producers, that's something that we definitely would like to work with you on, and could help point you in the right direction if you've got questions. Okay, let's see. Just making sure I got all of these questions. I think those are all the questions I wrote down. Does anyone have any others that we skipped from last time?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I think, do you have any final comments, Dickinson?
My final comment would be anyone who has made it this far watching a pre-recorded webinar deserves a prize of some sort. I don't know what that'll be, but thank you for your interest and your attention. Annie and Dan and I are supported by a great team of professional people here at Buzz that are just in awe of what the local agricultural community produces already. And we are as eager as you are for more people to understand how special our local agricultural activities are. This project, if nothing else, should be a big leap forward for taking what we think is a significant local livestock industry and turning it into what we would describe as a mature local meat industry. And you know, some of the things that are missing aren't going to be missing anymore. So we're excited to be at both your service and in many ways in business and partnership with you, the local producers in the area. And we look forward to working with you and learning more about your operation. Thanks for watching.